are here for MindFit. Come on over. Please stay. We are live.
Help me lower this thing.
Yes. All right, fam.
Thanks. Did you post the link, or you want me to try to do that?
Is it cool if corporate comes to your workout next Tuesday?
Yeah.
Okay. Just another
I would have somebody here before, so we don't have to open up.
I would be here now, not you here, but Joe and I are going to come and grab with themselves.
Are they going to work out?
I don't know.
You going to work out? Scary?
Yeah, boy. Okay. All right. Are we on, Elise?
Yep,
All
we're
right.
on.
Welcome to MindFit.
Woo!
Yeah, you're part of MindFit. You're not sitting back there. All right, cool. So, is this anybody's first time here? All right, welcome down. Can you just share with us your name and where you're from, or anything that you want to share with us so we get to know you? And then if you want to turn off the music.
Oh, yeah.
My name is Danielle. I'm originally from New Jersey, and I'm living in Paris.
New Jersey, I love it. Get up for Danielle.
Hi, my name is Melanie, and I'm from LA.
Awesome. Welcome to MindFit.
Yeah.
Excited to have you. Right? So brief, just review of what MindFit is, and just to share with you guys. First of all, you guys are in the Fit Lab, so this is a space where we do nutrition, fitness, and empowerment. So we do holistic transformation for people, mind, body, soul. We get people healthy through nutrition, through fitness, and through getting their mind right. Because we just know that in order to achieve anything we want in our life, whether it's health results or life results, it's what's going on up here is 90, if not 100% of the deal what's going on up here, right? So that's what we're here to talk about for the next hour. It's going to be fun. How this works is we have a topic every single week, and we go around and we share what comes up for us. And sometimes we can have stories that come up that are like from a dark place, and we always want to share the lesson, if that makes sense, so we can build on each other and grow from each other, so we can leave here vibrating at a high level. So the intention is to really raise each other's level of vibration. How many of you guys have ever experienced being excited, being on a high, like figuring out new information, being in flow with yourself, and then just having an awesome day and attracting other people that are awesome in your life, and then changing someone's day, and it's just like this ripple effect, right, of happiness and joy and excitement. So our goal here is to really vibrate at that level together, so we can go out and really make an impact in the world. Cool? And we have people that join us online every single week, so welcome. If you guys have questions online, absolutely ask them. Elise is going to be manning the computer today. So our topic today, or last week, was passion. So passion for me came out a lot last week. It just everything that I did, everything that I shared, I went and did a training in Denver, and I felt like everything I was talking about was passion, was our topic. I'm like, oh my god, this is awkward. I'm like, I should have made this a little more well-rounded, but it came through last week. Passion for who I am, passion for my mission, passion for what we have here, passion for what we do, passion for why I'm on the planet. And did anybody else have anything come up, like a specific story come up for them last week, or did you see passion come into your life that anyone wants to share before we go into this week's topic?
For me, passion came in a lot, honestly, just a lot of different areas. Like, I ended up, Brooke and I, we put on, we were laughing because we were like, most people probably wouldn't understand what we're doing right now, but we bought sand art, like when you're a little kid where you peel the sticker off and you put sand on, and we wore fairy wings, and we were just having fun and being little girls, and it was so exciting. I went with Amanda down to the beach and rode bikes, and so many different things to just express and have fun, and passion showed up a lot for me last week. A lot.
You got results. You saw results from that already.
I saw results from that. Yeah, I had so many more people here as far as like, you know, new people that I had been inviting. The people that I was meeting last week also shifted, like the quality of conversations, the quality of people and relationships. Even my relationship with my mom, like we're starting to see that both of us like grow in a totally different direction because we're both opening up. So I was just sharing my passion with everyone last week, which then transformed how everything took place. Yeah.
So this week's topic is unity, and you know, we're really thinking about what unity means to us and where we get to go from this topic. So when I was thinking about unity, thinking about how I really relate to the world, how I have related to the world in the past, how I've related to myself in the past, and how I relate to other people and myself now. And in the past, I felt, number one, disconnected, not united with me, not one with me, thus judged myself a lot and found myself judging other people a lot, which instantly disconnected me from other people, right? So I'm not perfect by any means, but definitely through, you know, working on having a higher connection with myself, I've been able to see people from a different place and really relate to people as we're exactly the same. You know, we're on the same journey. We're from the same creator. We're all love. We're all light. And we're all here to make a difference together. And I feel like when we walk around in that truth within ourselves, we can see it in other people, and then we can be one with every person on the planet. And what comes from that space is just endless possibility for me. Endless possibility when I can like sit down with Benny and talk about his life and his relationship and like where he's been, where I've been, the fact that we're one, we have the same, you know, conversations in our head, we come from the, you know, we have the same problems, we have everything, we're the same, you know, in so many different ways, and I can really connect with him on a higher level. And just that alone, I feel like creates such a shift in consciousness on the planet. So that's our topic for today, unity. So I don't know if anybody has a share that they want to start with, what it means to them, or anything that came up for them. Yeah, that's what we're going to start today. So who wants to start?
I mean, I could start. Because I was having some thoughts about it this morning as we were at the gym. Joe and I go to the gym every morning, and we're starting to invite, you know, people that we meet there to work out with us. And it's a good way to meet people and to get to work out with people. But as we have brand new coaches that come onto our team and then come to work out with us, it unifies, but like there's then, as it unifies us, then it was raising like sort of the question in my mind is like, how much does it work to like unify a team, and then how much do you find yourself then carrying it? And so I don't really want to open with this, but it was on my mind this morning. Whenever you have people that are brand new, or you know, as you're trying to show people the way, or your way that you've learned to do things, like how much is carrying and how much is like unity, and then it like makes me wonder, like we're only strong as our weakest link, too, and then that's like a big part of unity to me. So I don't know how I feel about it.
That makes sense.
You know,
we're only as strong as our weakest link, and it can be, you know, that can be like a dark, like sad thing, or be an excited thing. Like, you know, if we keep staying here, like I feel like the mission of MindFit and the mission of, you know, empowerment period on the planet is to vibrate here, to allow people to just come here versus, okay, I need to go down here to get you. It's just like, this is who I am one, I'm connected, I'm in love, and so are you.
Right.
Come.
Right.
Not like come, but like come here. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's, I guess, like I'm not going to do the work for you, but the invitation is open.
Yeah, this has been my path, this is my journey, here's the tools. Or ask the right, what I've learned is to ask the right questions, because in the past I would tell people what I saw or tell people what I felt or share with people like the breakthrough for them, and it never landed. It actually slowed down their journey. And I still see that, and I'm still working on how to share the information that I see and the path that I know for me has worked, and it's asking the right questions for them to get their answer, so they can start on this pathway.
I feel the unity, like it involves so much. It can depend on how you feel about it, how you view it, or what it means to you. It's like interesting what Laura said, because we've had conversations, and me and her haven't always had conversations because I'm coming in, I'm learning business, and I don't know, we had the discussion a couple weeks ago. We talked about there's things you deal with at each level in the business, but like lately, I guess because I've been, I feel like I've kind of stepped up, and I've been trying to really do more. I've been trying to learn more about myself, about the business. I feel like I can have conversations with Laura or Brian or Val or Lauren or any of the other leaders in here, and I feel like we're on the same level now. They just have done more work. Laura talked about fear. We talked about fear a couple weeks ago, and Laura just said she has just more layers peeled off, and that's the only difference. They've done more work. You guys have done more work. You guys are better at it and more consistent at it. But then it's so interesting, you guys still, even though you're good at it and better than most of us at it, you still have your vulnerability. Brian, the other day, a couple weeks ago, you remember he posted his aura was on? And then I was out, and I felt like that like the next day. I was like, oh, I think I got like 14 contacts the next day. And then a couple of days later, Brian came back and said he was having trouble doing invites. That's the day when he went to the gym. And then it's just so interesting, last night at Diamond Academy, with Brian and Laura's invites, they go through the same stuff we go through, So it's times where, we're working so hard on ourselves to, get to the point or get to where they're at, because we're the same, but then, it's easier for us to relate and understand that sometimes that they go through the exact same things that we go through, even when they're at. So it's still, I don't know, it's just interesting.
That brings up a big for me. One of my favorite Oprah Winfrey interviews. She said she won Woman of the Year, and there was I think it was 40 or 400. It's a big difference, but it was one of those. The most powerful women in the United States. They're all in a conference, right? In Beverly Hills. She gets up there and she's talking, and I've watched this interview probably 10 times because it made such an influence on me. And she said, every single person on the planet is the same. She's like, I've interviewed the president, I've interviewed the Dalai Lama, I've interviewed professional athletes, I've interviewed people with their own business. Like, you guys would say Oprah's interviewed everyone, right? At some point, anyone and everyone that she wants to interview. And she goes, and the same thing happens after every interview between Beyonce or Barack Obama. They said, did that make a difference? Was that okay? Is that okay? And it's just, they all asked the same thing. Do I matter? Did I make a difference? Was I significant? And we're all, it doesn't matter if you're the president or if you're Laura or if you're Benny or if you're your mom or whatever. It's we all want to know that we made a difference. We all want to know that we matter. We all want to know that we're significant. So the more that we work on knowing our self-worth, the more that I work on loving myself and being in connection with myself, the more I'm doing the best I can to do the work to grow, the more I can actually walk up to a leader and completely relate, because I'm doing the work on me and I'm connected to me, that I know we're the same. It's this inner knowing, right? So that when you're connected with yourself, that's why it's easier for you to talk to me in this space of oneness. Right?
Right.
But when you're beating yourself up, I don't matter, I'm not significant, I'm not doing the work, I'm not enough, then it's this hierarchy, right?
Yes.
But it's not, we're all the same, right?
Can I say something real quick on that?
Yeah.
I've been meeting a lot of people, really significant people. I've had a couple conversations with business owners and things like that. Meeting really, really good people last few weeks, and you find that when you're vibrating at that higher level, everybody's journey might be different, but the conversations are the same. It's so weird. If the journeys are different, how you got to a certain place or how you got to that point, but inevitably it's at the same point, so the conversations are very, very similar.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I came in a little late.
Yes.
But
What's your name?
My name is Alfred. I really appreciate what you say.
Okay.
And I really appreciate Sarah for inviting me. But may I ask one question?
Yes.
Because I have problems talking to people, even my relatives.
Yeah.
Would you be kind enough to say, how do you, I think I know, but how do you explain, what is the self then? What is the self? Because people just, when they say the self, they say, yes, I know myself, and no, their action doesn't show it. So what is the self?
What is the self?
Yeah, the self. Yeah.
It's a really good question. It's really deep, right? For me, self is one with my creator, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean like, a lot of times what I was sharing earlier, Alfred, is like, so in the past I used to really like talk at people like, this is what I see, this is what I know, this is like putting it out there rather than just being inside of it and asking people questions for them to come up with that light inside of them. And I feel like that is a deeper form of connection with someone else, a deeper form of unity, because they can see the light inside of them for them versus me seeing it for them.
So you're within your energy, and therefore they see, like you said, the light.
Gives them access. Gives them access to them.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And I definitely don't have all the answers. Does anyone else have a question in response to that? What is self? That was kind of a deep question.
I would have answered it very similarly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just being like true to who you are, when you're true with yourself and true to who you are, then other people can see that. And they want to know how they can be true to themselves and kind of ask themselves like the same questions that we ask ourselves every day to get there.
But it's not up to us to have that journey for them.
I think along the same lines, there's two different things when we talk about like unity being the topic today that come up for me. Number one is judgment, right? Talking about oneness, if we are all one, self-judgment can get in the way of that. And I think it's self-judgment and judging others. And sometimes we don't make the connection that when you judge someone else, you're actually judging yourself. And a lesson that I've learned in the past is that also when you're judging someone else, you're holding them at a specific place or a specific standard or a specific expectation. And when you're holding them there, no matter what they do, you're still seeing them there. Even if they've changed as a person, even if they've shifted their beliefs, even if they have raised their vibrations, or even but if you're holding them where you have seen them or always seen them in the past, then nothing's shifting. So it's really about, are you willing to, and I'm talking to myself, am I willing to see someone who they are right now today in this moment? Not who they were 10 minutes ago, not who they were 10 years ago. And same thing for yourself. With Monica Zanz, who does Next Level, for those of you who know what that program is, something that she's always told me, and it's always stuck in my head, is that when her and Jan wake up in the morning, they look at each other and they're like, hi, nice to meet you this morning. They re-meet each other every morning, whatever that conversation looks like for them, but the concept is that they're re-meeting each other. They're waking up, it's a new day. Like, nice to meet you this morning. I'm so glad I'm with you.
What if we did that for ourselves?
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. I always think about looking at myself in the mirror and saying,
wake up today. Like, I don't know if you guys saw my post today, but I posted a photo of myself. Like, today I am love, vulnerability, passion, creativity. I don't know what all the other words that I put in there, but like I woke up and I was like, I'm like really feeling awesome, and I need to I want to project that. I want to offer that as a gift to other people. And so, thank you.
Me too.
Thank you. Judgment was one, and then the other thing for unity that comes up for me, so let me complete the judgment. When you're truly in self-love and acknowledging who you are, you can acknowledge who the other person is in front of you in that moment. So that's the judgment piece. Then the second thing that came up for me in unity is aligning versus agreeing, which is a conversation that a couple of you know about very well. But in unity, I see unity can be in going for a common vision. Unity, yes, is we are one, but if you're talking about a project or a job or your friends or your family or whatever you're doing, if you're moving in a common goal or common direction, there's one thing to say, I agree, I disagree, and there's another thing to say, I align. So it was a lesson that I didn't understand for a while, but I totally get it now. So there might be a concept that you say, okay, yes, Elise, I agree that unity is moving forward together in the same direction. But somebody may say, I don't know if that's unity. I disagree with that. However, when you're in that group, can you, in the disagreement, align for the bigger purpose? You know, I might not disagree, but we are all heading in the same direction. I'm going to align and move that way. So, you know, there's decisions that may be made here in the Fit Lab, right, that you may not agree with. But can you take yourself out of that moment, look at the bigger picture, and say, you know, I might not agree with this specific decision, but I'm aligning for the bigger purpose of what we're up to. Does that make sense? Am I articulating that in a way that is landing? Okay, so those are the two things that are unity. That's unity for me.
That just makes me then think that unity is love, because if separateness is fear, and unity then would be love, because it's the opposite, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's communication too. I was trying to think of this great answer of what unity means for me, and I think it's just communication just kept coming up and up. And I think it's because we have so many different relationships, and in this big space where we run out workouts and whatever else we do, it's like there's so many people that come in and out that I still don't feel connected to, and it's just because of not having a conversation. Mm-hmm. And I think when you get to the point where you communicate with people and you get to know them on a different level, whether it's just hi, like how was your day, I think that creates unity in a second. And then obviously a higher level of conversation, if you're in a relationship, if you have like a small circle of friends that you're with, like if there is a lack of communication, then obviously like the vibrations between you guys are off. So I think that's the only thing that just came up for me, just unity in communication. What would be on the side?
Maybe the lack of connection that you're feeling with certain people is because they have more filters on them. So they're not, you know, obviously you've been around a community where you've been personally developed, working on yourself, so you're more unfiltered, you're more open, and it's harder to see somebody, see who they are when there's so much of, you know, the world and so much of, you know, life and, you know, surrounding them on
And what comes up for me is like there is a way to, you know, touch every single person in this space right now, but outside of this many people, I'm not so sure how many conversations I could actually have. But by living it and being it, then no matter if you see me from across the room, hug me, shake my hand, have a conversation with me, see me on Facebook, or happen to be in the same car with me and driving for 2 hours, you get to feel what it looks like to be connected, which is really me being connected and you being connected. Like I was talking to one of our spiritual guys, Monica's dance, for literally from like 8 to like 3 in the morning, and like we were just like so connected with ourselves, and she was so like we could not get off the Skype because it was like literally 5 in the morning her time. We were just like so connected to something bigger than us, but I could have stayed on there all day because I was just like attracted through the computer. And I don't think necessarily it has to be a conversation, but how do we get to that space inside of ourselves where we feel truly connected to offer that gift, however the gift looks, whether it be a song, a public speech, a hug, a high five, a community service project, a smile. You know, so I think not like saying I disagree, I just think communication can be in so many different communication and can be silent. You know?
Kind of like meet somebody, how we always say, coach, meet that person at that, you know, where they're at, wherever they're at, like meet them. I mean, that's always impacts more people.
So I always wonder if I really know what that means, to meet people where they're at. I just met a guy and became really good friends with him. And when he moved, he was like, thank you so much for meeting me where I'm at. And like, I don't know how much you taught me. And I'm like, I don't really know if I know what that means. Like, you're welcome. I don't really know what I did. You know, like I don't really know what that means.
Who they are.
Right?
Yeah.
There was no judgment. Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I said it.
Because I know I hear that a lot around here, but I don't know if I actually know how to do it.
You want to share on that?
Yes, not only that, I was wanting to share on two, and after this, I will not, but I'll just listen and take my mind. All your relatives say, talk too much. But I was thinking about the judgment part, that when since we are one, and if I judge you, then I'm judging myself. If I put you down, I'm putting myself down. When I put you up, I'm putting myself down. Oh, and this beautiful queen over here, the question that she asked about relationship, isn't it true that relationship begins with me and not with the second person?
Yes.
Like when I'm done, I have to learn to relate to embrace those thoughts, and when I'm up, I'm grateful.
Yeah.
So I think it begins with me, to
Mm-hmm.
love me, have patience, and to be whatever I want. You want to be loved, be loved. Patient, have to be patient. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And not with another person. Then when I meet somebody, oh my God.
That's great. That's great.
Yes.
So one of the things for me, it's been a big, lately I've been as, clearly first it was like, oh, get connected. Okay, so I gotta get connected. And then I actually tried to get connected. And so, well, how do you really know that you're actually connected to something bigger? I have an idea of what that bigger picture is. But is there, I don't know if some of you guys are connected to a bigger purpose. I just want to know, like, how did you know, okay, I'm in alignment with the bigger picture, right? So for me, I thought one time it was like just, okay, just feeling yes no matter what. And then as a result, I started putting myself on the back burner and putting everything else I was asked of me in the front burner. And I thought that, as long as I commit to the bigger picture, don't worry about me, everything else will align. And then it just, a little gap started being created of where I was and where I wanted to be. And that gap caused pain and frustration. So I didn't understand what was going on. Right? So I want to be here, but I'm really here. So understanding that gap, and I thought it was connection, but I'm just trying to figure out now, when everybody says get connected, I feel like sometimes it's vague to me how it occurs to me because I don't understand what is it specifically,
When you're speaking, and I wish I want you to go talk for sure, it's like everything you're saying is about, at least what I'm hearing is about understanding and like doing. It's on a actual like manpower, like on the ground type of a deal. I think the first piece inside of connection, at least what I found, is being open to the journey. Like there's a lot of people that say, yeah, I want to grow. I want to get close to something bigger than myself. I want to surrender. But they're really like this. Like I want to, but I don't want to. Like I'm open, and you're really not open. So I really think the first step is like I'm really open. Like I'm ready. I'm done. I'm open. Like I'm ready for the journey. Take me. And from that space, the right books, the right resources, the right leaders, the right mentors can come in your life to guide you to what that looks like for you. But it's actually not about the physical. because it's here right now for you, and it gets to go to here and then go to here. And there's a lot of guides in your life that can take you to that journey, but it's actually the thing for you gets to go from here, at least what I'm seeing right now, is to here.
And I understand too, like that jump, that leap it can be really hard because when you're stuck in like the cognitive, like, okay, but I think this is right and I think this and I think that, you don't even know what it would be like to just feel it. So if you have this like a vision, something you're trying to connect and align with and like get on board with, it's the fit line, you have to feel what it's going to be like if that vision were a reality, and like whatever it is for you, if it's a relationship or your career, whatever it may be, feel what you would actually feel like in that moment and connect to that rather than trying to think about and break it down. And so from that, again, it goes back to everything you've been saying. It starts with yourself, and you can't connect to other people and connect to another vision until you really know yourself and know what you want, know in your soul what you're trying to connect to. You can't even have a connected conversation with somebody until you're okay with yourself and know where you're coming from. Like what I was saying, like the space you're coming from is allowing others to show up as they are, rather than thinking about, okay, what are they thinking and how am I showing up in this conversation, and trying to analyze it all. And it's a really big leap between the two, and I've gone back and forth between the two a lot, so I know that. But it feels distinctly different when you're not in your head.
I was talking to Heather Pullen on the way here. We were talking about this concept. So I don't know if some of you guys have read Tribal Leadership, and it talks about the 5 stages of leadership, right? It's very like business, like this is like the leader and the CEO and the boss and all that. But then there's this book that I think you met. You met Alfred at Agape. Mm-hmm. So Michael Beckwith, Vision, Agape. When I was there, I felt super connected to him, and I'm like, okay, I gotta get this. Like, I gotta learn his teachings, right? So I got this audio called Life Visioning. Dude, shit is so real. Like, I'm listening to it, and I'm like, oh my god. Like, it's almost like you gotta be ready for it, because it's so deep. And it's basically like Tribal Leadership, the 5 stages, but he talks about the same stages through spirituality. And he's talking about the second stage being manifesting. And when you were talking about going from here to here, it's like I am the creator, like I'm going to work on manifesting, and I'm going to create, and I'm going to do this. And I'm watching things show up in my life through like me being in co-creation almost. Like this is what this is what it feels like to drive a Range Rover. Now I have a like this is what it like really understanding what that co-creation looks like. Really working on the ultimate surrender for something deeper to come. And it's like, I feel like a lot of us, at least listening to this, I was like, I think we overestimate how far we've actually come and like how much more there really is to explore. And like how much deeper and how much more connected we can really get, which comes from the highest level of surrender. What she's sharing is just moving. I think if we can move the feeling down, because there was I was super in my head, winning everything, and I approved something. It was like, we've had this conversation, just like the physical, right? Then it was like what it feels like to connect, and now it's like really, really working on ultimate surrender, which there's a lot of fear attached, but it's that process I feel like will lead us to something even more extraordinary. You want to
Alicia, I want Alicia to share first. Her hand's been up, but yeah, I do.
Might be kind of weird out there, but for me, something that keeps coming up in my life with like getting connected to a bigger picture, especially like within this community, we have an idea of like what that bigger picture is, and it's like, you know what I mean, like presence, moral, lifestyle, whatever. But for me, when I break it down to like the simplest form, right? Like getting connected with yourself first, and it's a feeling. It's not a like if I do this, then the feeling will come. It's like just feeling that feeling. Like we talked about this last week a little bit too. Like what are those things that we can just go be or just go sit, or just go think about that gets connected with myself, right? And then for me, like, what is the big picture? Like, what is the, we know the big picture in Herbalife, but like, take it past that and think about life. Like, what is the big picture in life? And that's not to hit presidents, right? Like, the big picture in life is to get connected with everybody else and show them that they have light inside of them as well. And like, it's really weird, and I'm kind of trying to like dissect the deepness in it because I don't really understand it all, I don't think yet. But for me, like, when I think that when I get connected to the big picture of like really making an impact on the planet, and Herbalife is just a vehicle to reach a lot of people because we can talk to anybody about nutrition products, right? But the end goal is to help them see that they're like that in this world, and that we are the same exact thing, and that is our mission. But you can't get connected to that by doing, well, you know what I mean, like by building something or doing something that somebody else has asked you to do.
Well, it's a combination because it's working inside of that space with the actual physical action on the ground that gets you the microphone to share that message.
Right.
Like, so much of what I was sharing this past weekend was that mission, connection, purpose is something higher than yourself. That was really the whole message through 5 hours of training. It was, who are you? Why are you here? And this is just a transformation journey for you to get access to that, right? And we were talking about, legacy, and I just played at the end Beyonce's video, I was here, I made a difference. Like, and it was like everyone was bawling. Like, I was hysterically bawling on stage. Leslie was hysterically bawling because we got to this point of like such high vulnerability and connection together. And it was like, wow, like, we're not selling products, like, we're really figuring out who we are, and we're really changing our lives, and we're changing other people's lives. But it's through actually doing physical work, like, of getting started on a nutrition program so you can have access. But when you work from this space, things just happen easier. Like Elise was sharing yesterday, like, all of these things are just coming into her life right now, and it's like she's had the highest, volume she's ever had. She's the highest everything from a space of like totally different, right? It's like, oh, here's $1,800. Oh, here's this. It's just coming, right? Because she's connected. So I think it's definitely, because there's a space where it's like, okay, work on myself, meditate, not go out of the house, right? But there's a balance between being in connection and doing the work. If that makes sense. So you can have access to make that massive difference if you choose to. Yes?
Yeah, I can totally speak on that. Coming from a space of being, I want relationships, I want this, and I'm like, I'm open. I can tell myself I'm open. I'm hugging. So being able to realize that and shift in the moment and change who I am and who I'm being can completely change what I'm taking, what actions I'm taking, and what my vision is. And also with the vision, it's like getting really grounded with what your vision is, and then, like I said, taking the committed action steps to get there. But it starts with you and who you're being first.
What's been the biggest shift for you?
With all the stuff I've done, it's allowing myself to acknowledge who I truly am and not putting myself down for
it. Yeah, do you want to go? Yeah, go ahead. If you could talk really loud, because the video is over here. We have a couple of viewers online.
Hi, my name is Serena. I just wanted to share about getting connected. One way that I use to get connected, because sometimes I feel like it's really strong, and I feel my levels go down. Like, even when I walked into here today, it was kind of like I get a nervous feeling when I'm not connected, when I'm not at that high level, just because it feels so powerful. So it's like, what do I do? Like somebody was saying, what do I have to do to get that feeling? It's like I applied myself into the situation, like how you described it, it was like a gap. I want to be like a performance, and so I wasn't in acting classes. I wasn't doing necessarily the work to get there, but I just wanted them. And so it's like you have to really break down the steps and start at the beginning. You can't just go for it. Because I feel like I'm Christian, so I believe in God. I don't know if feel like God breaks down the steps for you, and He only gives you as much as you can handle. So you can't want more until you handle what you have. And I was watching the BT Awards, and I said I want to be a performer. It was, I don't know what it was about this performance, this show. It was so motivational because you saw how like people's lives really changed. The performers that started low, like no one really knew that they're underground, and now they're on the stage winning awards, and they're like new rappers beating out old rappers. And it was inspiring, and it was like when I first started on the fitness journey I've come a way. So I was proud of myself. And when you start with small steps, you get confidence to go greater. So you have to start small, and when you build greater, you can get there. You can't just go because you're gonna break down. It's like you have to build and gain that confidence. I came from being like bigger, and then I lost weight, so it was just like I have confidence to do that. I can do this, and I can do this, and I can do this, and then that's when you can.
Yeah, what I wanted to share a couple of things on what a lot of you have said. So there was a time not too long ago, Ashwin, that I was totally in my head about everything, and I was emotional about everything. Fear was like the number one thing. Like someone would ask about something, or like what, I'm like, I'm scared, I'm afraid. Like that was like a common language that I spoke. And, you know, I thought, okay, I'm open, and I didn't even know that I was still walking around like this. I'm open. I really didn't know. It took enough people and enough times of people being patient with me, honestly. People being patient with me and saying, you can shift, here are the tools, you can. But until I had that moment, right? Everybody has their own journey. Until I had that moment of like, oh, I actually get it now. Then it was the awareness process of, okay, I'm aware that I'm doing this, now what? I'm aware I'm doing this, now what? And so then it was like learning a new conversation of surrender, talking about connection. One of the first things that I began to do was sit alone. And like not in alone, but like in connection. Like knowing that, okay, I'm going to sit, whether it's meditating, whether it's journaling, I'm going to learn how I can be with me. Because I think I've talked about this a couple weeks ago, but I would fill the time with other people, or I never wanted to be by myself. I'd be like, oh, well, so-and-so is having more fun, I need to go be with them. It was because I couldn't like look at myself and be with myself. I hadn't like really met myself. So that might be a suggestion, is just starting there. It's like self-discovery, if you will, of like being alone. And whatever thoughts come up, jot them down. Like sometimes I would take a video, or I would have my phone recording on. So it was like the awareness, getting to know me, and then learning that surrender is a big, big, big piece in all of it. And I had a massive experience at the end of last year where surrender like was a terrifying word for me, because my belief around it in the past was that surrender was falling. Surrender was losing control. Surrendering was taking the grip off, falling. Like it was this like almost like lose my breath feel. And I had an experience that taught me that surrender is actually catching you. Surrender is like someone lifting you. Surrender is a higher power, like allowing a higher power to literally like take you under its wings. And it's still like sometimes like, oh no, can I go to that surrender? But when I do is when all these massive things happen. And when that feeling of connection and that feeling of the heart space and like coming from your core and like the strength and the flow that Laura was talking about, flow happens in the surrender. But getting to that point, like you were saying, it's all those little baby steps. Maybe your baby step is just like seeing what being with you feels like. Then there's going to be some discovery. You're going to start learning some lessons. And then it's like, oh, oh. And now fear is like, if it comes up, I can laugh at it. I may still go that way, you know, in the fear, but at least I can see it and say I have the choice. And I never used to be able to do that before. But that was like a lot.
I was talking to a girl this weekend, and because I talked a lot about this on stage, and she like came up to me after, and she was like, "Oh my God, like I'm so scared. I just don't know. I don't know if I can just be by myself." She's like, "I fill my alone time with like busy work. Like even if she's like on her Facebook or on her computer or like thinking, like that's still not alone."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Okay, I know. I've been there. I really get it." And it's like, breathing, like breath is life, right? So breathing into silence. Like yoga is real. Like yoga's been really big for me because it's allowed me to like have to get still. Like yoga is like focusing literally on the breath coming in and out. And that's all I can think about is the breath, and then all of a sudden I go somewhere else, right? But it's not like I need to do this, I need to do this computer thing, I need to call this person, I need to do this. Like that is disconnection in itself. So slowing down the chatter, there's different ways that people can get present to slowing down the chatter, whether it be yoga, whether it be meditation, whether it be sitting on the beach, going for a walk with a dog, like I don't really know, like soccer. There's ways to be connected that are different for every single person. But I think that that's the exploration that we all get to have. Yes.
I'm hearing what both you and Lisa are saying. I'm reading this right now, and it's like everything. It's a great book. Everything that's the same, and I'm gonna share with you guys I think it's just finding a purpose. You know, Lisa's talking about being connected. Well, what's connected? Because if you don't understand it or haven't like felt it, it's like really finding your purpose. And Elise was saying that, you know, she couldn't stand being by herself, and that's something that Eckhart Tolle talks about. Like, he was like, wait, if I can't stand being with myself, then that must mean there's something else, and then there's an inner me, there must be two of me. That means the who you truly are inside, and then what you're projecting, right? So it's so funny. Me and Alicia have had this conversation a few times in the last couple of weeks. My parents, right? They're both 63, and I'm so grateful that I have this, and I like found my purpose. And I hear a general topic among people in my age range that like, what am I supposed to do? What's my purpose? I'm so grateful for finding this. Because I look at my parents, they're 63. My dad plays sports, got injured. He's been driving buses and trucks for the last 30, 40 years. My mother retired, and all I know is that they did the best they could to take care of me. But it's like I see them now, and it's like they're almost just waiting to die because they're not progressing anymore. They're not, and it hurts me. I'm like, I asked my mom the other day, I said, Mom, what is it that you want to do? Oh, well, you know, I'm 63, I don't want to do anything. And it's so crazy because my mom has a beautiful voice. And she hasn't even come into how powerful she could be as far as using that gift and sharing that gift with the world, because she didn't, whatever fear, she just didn't believe it, and she didn't follow that. But I know that that's something, that a gift that she has that she could give to the world. My father, I'm thinking about it, and I have no idea, because all he's ever done his whole life is work. It's work, it's work, it's work. He had a great job, gave me everything that I probably ever needed. They sent me to great schools, but all he did was work. And I look at him now, and I'm like, they're both 63. I'm like, you guys have a lot of years left to find it, figure it out. It like there's something in that this is so much more than nutrition. It's me having this and knowing that I can give my children something that I never had. And it's just it's finding that purpose and giving your gift to the world, whatever it is that you have, and that's the way that you're connected, because everybody else is going to see that, because you're giving from a different place. Les Brown says that the worst thing you can do is die and not give your gift and all the dreams that you've ever had, all the ambition, you're the only person that could feel that. And when you die, they die with you.
Change lives. I've heard you talk to your clients, I've heard you talk to your coaches, and like you just speak like inspiration into people. And so to me, it's interesting to, I don't know why I'm so emotional right now, but it's interesting that you don't feel it, because I've heard it from you. I mean, you save lives. What do you do? What do you do? I was talking to a client this morning, and I kept bugging her for her after photo. She's had crazy results. She's been on a plane for like 4 months. I'm like, send me that photo, send me that photo. She's like, scared, like I'm disappointed, I'm not going to see it. Like, are you sure? Like, I don't know if I see it. Girlfriend, send me the photo. Like, are you kidding? Like, you look amazing. So she does the before and after. She sends it to me, and I'm like, are you seeing what I'm seeing? And she was like, yes. And I said, how do you feel? And she was like, I am so proud of myself. I thought that I would have given up by now. Like, I can't believe I've done that. And I said, you know that I'm crying right now. And she was like, this is incredible. Like, I can't believe like that I've met these people, and you guys like basically saved my life. I mean, not in like she was gonna die sort of way, but like in a like just like cruise control sort of way. And like, who wants to live on cruise control? And it's like changed her life. And I was like straight up doing meal prep in the kitchen crying because this girl like didn't even want to send me the photo. And I'm like, send me the photo. Like, come on now, like you've done the work, you show up like all the time. Like you even went out of town for 6 weeks where you got your best. Who gets their best results out of town? No one. You went out of town for 6 weeks, got your best results. Send me your photo. And like even when she started, she was like, Sarah, I'm so scared that you guys are gonna like abandon me. She was like, I've started fitness things before. I've wanted to lose weight before. I've wanted to change before, and people always quit on me. And Joe and I sat there and we were like, we're not quitting. If you're not quitting, we're not quitting. Like this is happening. And now 6 months later to see her, like she was off to go on a job interview, and I was like, like that job is yours. Like you just sent me that picture. Like you are amazing. You can do anything you want. And she was just speechless. That's what we do.
I think connect both of you guys. It's more than just the shapes and the physical. I know that's why I'm here. That's why Tuesday I have to be here because it's more of what you were talking about over here. I look at my parents too, and I wish they had rehab for today or something. And yes, it's amazing that she lost the weight or whatever. We're giving people nutrition, but more so, people need guiding it and what they're here for, and just inspiration. And like what you were saying with the yoga every day, I was one of those people that was so, and I'm still working on it, but like all over the place, never was alone, had tons of friends, life was perfect, and just connecting with yourself. And I think that's what we need to teach people and help each other. And like I said, I'm still helping myself, but like just connecting, doing yoga, and living life to the fullest, whether it's going to the beach, like, and volleyball every day, like little things like that's what it's why I'm here and what I think it's more about versus just drink this shake and do this. It's helping people save their lives, but on the bigger picture, inspirational, emotional, and physical.
But if she never would have committed to the investment in herself, if she never would have committed to doing the work every single day, staying on her plan, drinking her shake, working out, she never would have done that first step, she would never be where she is right.
Which is why Herbalife is our vehicle, right, to completing our purpose in life, which is to help others come to those realizations, you know. That's why it's so much bigger than just, but that is the deal, because Herbalife helps Sarah connect with this girl, and essentially like we're breaking down the layers and showing her that she's worthy, which is what we all want. That's, to me, that's the big picture. That's the common goal of humanity.
I think the first step is like, I think it's once you peel like literal layers off of people, like fat layers, they can start to like really recognize themselves differently in here, and loving themselves, supporting them with loving themselves through the process. And then once you like love your body, it's like, okay, now let me look deeper. Now let me get quiet. Like now you're at the space where it's like, okay, I'm at the wall. Now what? Okay, let's work on opening our arms down and ready. Now let's get quiet so we can hear. When you're quiet, you can actually hear what you're here for. Like, why you're here. Or the right teacher, spiritual teacher will come into your life and be like, oh, well, this is what I was here to believe in. But that's really what's the gift that's been coming to me is through the surrender process, people coming into my life to share things that I really get to know right now and who I am and who I'm here. And I think it's just this step. We always say the first shake is just the first crack to spiritual awakening. It's like, oh, here we go. Welcome to this journey called life. Like
the chocolate or vanilla shake.
Oh man, in Denver we had the deepest conversation, and like if people ask me what my, only 4 minutes left, I'll finish with the story, but people ask me what my favorite part of Denver was, or Leslie asked me, it was this lunch conversation that we had. We had finished riding horses up into this amazing mountain, and we came back down the mountain, and we had herded like cows, and then we like sat and we had lunch, and it was me, and how I had met these guys that I was with was I helped Heather Collin, a girl that played volleyball with, lose 40 pounds. She went full-time with her wife. She helped her friend Alicia Robinson that played at USC lose 30 pounds. She helped her boyfriend lose 51 pounds. The next division football player, national champion, who then opened up a wellness center and met somebody, Marcus, out at the bar, helped him gain 8 pounds of muscle. Marcus posted on Facebook, helped this guy, Kevin, who had the most ridiculous health results. He's lost 40 pounds, but there's things that we can't medically claim that's actually happened for him. Helped this guy, Zarek, who was 25 pounds. I was with Marcus, Kevin, and Zarek this weekend, right? So see how our impact, the depth of our impact, right? And we're all sitting at lunch with Leslie Stanford, who if she had quit, we wouldn't be here. And we're all sitting around, and we just start talking, and I was like, what we're doing is so much bigger than our life. And they all immediately started crying. We ended up talking for 4 hours at lunch. We were like, what time is it? Oh my gosh. And we were all bawling hysterically, but they're all talking about how none of them has, and how seriously inside of opening up the African American marketplace, like really, 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 like what percentage of family members have been literally torn apart. And the work that they're doing, like they've all forgiven their dads, right? They've all completely forgiven their dads, and they've completely skyrocketed their businesses, and it's starting to duplicate in their organization, and they're just like, our kids will never be the same, ever, because we were here and we said so, and we're changing generations forever. And they're like hysterically bawling of like the pain of their past that they're like letting go of and surrendering and moving through. So they're like, it was this moment of like tears, and like what we're doing is so big, and we're changing generations, and we're changing like a race, and we're changing people, and we're becoming one. And like it was like this spinning moment of just, it's so much bigger than we even know. And if we continue to surrender, and we continue to do the work, and we continue to let go, continue to connect, and the difference that we're here to make is actually bigger than we can even fathom. Really. So with that, action steps for this week. Let's go out and, number one, on a daily basis, love ourselves. So connect with ourselves, whatever that looks like, being quiet, yoga, doing something that we love, and filling ourselves up so we can come from a space of we're one. Like how many people can we connect with and have stories with this week that we're one versus children? Cool?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Betty's smile is so epic. Like hi. He's like cloud nine. Just glowing.
He's been vibrating at a high frequency.
Really high. I see you. Yeah, absolutely. See you, buddy. All right, fam. Signing off. Let's give it up for MindFit. All right, we're gonna.
Thank you guys. Bye.
We're gonna.